Welcome, world historians. To this video, I will be going through the 5 documents of DBQ_1 and really looking at the source analysis, looking at our HAPI, historical significance or historical situation, the intended audience, the purpose of the document, or the point of view, and then going into the why is it important or significant to your argument. So, breaking down document 1, this is the Egyptian official on Mansa Musa, ruler of Mali, during his royal visit in Cairo during the 14th century. So the first thing, went really detailed with this first document and then kind of more bullet pointed out pieces here. So this is something like you could have written for the purpose of document 1 is to illustrate appreciation for the Mali king in Cairo. The Egyptian official respects the king not only for his generosity but because they share a common religion, Islam, and wants to thank the visiting king. This further shows the level of respect in Sub-Saharan kingdom's achievement to use Islam in organizing Mali's society and government, since an outside empire is grateful for Mansa Musa's visit. So I underlined identifying the purpose. You don't have to say the purpose of this document, because sometimes some people may argue and be like, oh, you really don't have the purpose here. You're really looking at, the author's point of view or whatnot. It doesn't matter. It might help you to start out by saying the purpose of this document is to blank, because that will help you get in that right frame of mind to source. The key thing with sourcing, you want to identify and describe that purpose, point of view, audience, or situation, and then explain why it's relevant to your argument. So the argument I'm having here is talking about the achievement, of establishing Islam, Muslim religion, or having an organized society. You have a couple of different things here, as explains to an argument that shows the great achievements of the Sub-Saharan region, kingdoms and empires. Another way you could source this document is going from the point of view. The author is an official of the Middle Eastern Empire. So with being an official, there's a level of authority and you're reputable. So even though these could be competing kingdoms, this document shows a level of admiration and gratitude for sharing the wealth from the kingdom of Mali. So a little similar to the purpose, but you see the difference of, illustrating out that point of view there of the Egyptian official and connecting it to an argument. In document 2, we got the Travels of Kingdom of Mali by Ibn Battuta. The point of view here, so put yourself into the author's shoes. Hopefully you recognize this name and you remember this author. This is one that you should know. Ibn Battuta was a well-known Muslim traveler and a judge. So this makes him an expert on religion and civil justice. So with putting yourself in his shoes, we can trust this document to be an accurate account and show the degree of fairness that we see in Mali and, the security that it creates, those achievements in the kingdom of Mali. So again, linking it back to your argument. Another way you could source this is possibly the audience. Knowing, again, the author here could be Muslims, especially maybe even some sultanates, because you have Ibn Battuta, traveling around all the Muslim empires at the time, to kind of, show how great the Muslim areas are. Historical situation. Ibn Battuta, again, looking at his motive to go to Mali and report back to Islam, how could that benefit your argument? All right, with document 3, the description of the wax process used in making bronze sculptures in the Benin by Hausa artisan in the 15th century. My first one I thought about would be, the intended audience. I think that this is written for an apprentice, or possibly, this artisan's son, because the artist's predecessors need to know how to create these sculptures so that the prestigious craft can stay in the family. Or stay kind of a secret, kind of like a secret recipe. This is demonstrating that there's a significance in this art and in this process. You go to a prestigious college to get, certain information from those prestigious teachers. Kind of similar to this with the audience that would probably be a son or an apprentice. Another way to source this would be the point of view. Get into the shoes of this artisan. He might be bragging about his craft. You see the words in here that shows, how proud he is, and he's saying, Allah, look at this is for you, and so he might be bragging, to show that it's wonderful because it's his best. But again, it's about the intricate process of this art. So whereas you might see the limitation of him bragging or whatnot, we know that this is clearly showing how to make these sculptures that are so key to this part of Sub-Saharan Africa. And then another way to source this, you could utilize historical situation. If you know about the Benin, if you remember and you did the makeovers at the very first project we've done, maybe yours was on Africa and you remember about this, to know the historical situation, that these bronze head sculptures were created to commemorate the rules of kings. So once kings had passed away, the new king would actually commission people to make these large bronze sculptures of the heads of the kings. And we still see all of these today. So in document 4, this is, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, resident of al-Andalus, that's Cordoba, Spain, currently, who never traveled to Africa, but based these observations on interviews with travelers in 1068. So the historical situation is what I went with first. This is about travels to Ghana. And Ghana was that first successful kingdom in West Africa. Then Mali takes over that and improves upon Ghana. So looking at the achievements, depending on which way you wanted to go back with your argument, taking that, this is the successor, we have a succession of greatness that's in this area. Another way to source this document would be purpose. This is a Muslim in Spain that's reporting about what others have said in the, about Ghana. So we don't know if these numbers are 100% factual. Are there really 12 mosques? But most travelers aren't going to blatantly lie about populations, about size, about mosques. So you still can trust that there are these mosques in this area in 1068. You can trust that there is this water system that's there, even though there might be some exaggeration or whatnot there. Thinking about the purpose of this document for people to come down and visit Ghana, maybe. And then Doc 5. People always ask me, how do you source a picture? You remember, you don't have to source all of these documents. You got to do 2 100% correctly and go back and explain it to the argument. And that's where students fall short. They'll identify the point of view and tell us what the point of view is, but fail to explain how that helps out your argument. That's why I say do it to more than 2. If your minimum is 2, do 3. If your minimum's 1, do 2. If your minimum's 3, do 4. Or try to do it on all of them, especially when you have a week to do these essays. Try to do all of them, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing. But the more you try, the more likely you are to be successful at it. And with Doc 5, the bronze head of a staff in the shape of a coiled snake from Nigeria in the 9th century. The first thing I took a look at to source this is look at the date of this artifact. This is the 800s, the 9th century. And it's significant to document 5 because these people created a bronze head to a staff with such intricacy and detail with this snake. It looks so lifelike and it survived throughout time that it still looks like this. And, it is made out of bronze, yes, a metal. But the metalworking, the artisanship, the craftsmanship, clearly demonstrating, superiority and for it to last this long. And that's the key way you could source this. I can't think of another way. So hopefully that helps you get some ideas about how to source the documents. We're going to get some practice on this in a couple weeks. That will be our Zoom meeting 4. Talking about, getting us some practice and discussion about sourcing some documents. And this is also done on those AP College Board YouTube series that they got. They do sourcing a lot. Also, remember our multiple choice questions. A lot of you are like, why are we doing multiple choice when that's not part of our exam anymore? But these multiple choice questions are giving you 4 choices that are helping you source the documents and things like that. So that's why I'm really plugging in and having you do those so that you get practice and realize how these things are connected. All right. So you guys be safe and happy studying and practicing your DBQ and grading for that matter.